Good afternoon, welcome back. This is our Python level 1 class. So let's continue on Python. Last week we learned Python string, and we only finished partial of it. And the most important concept is that a character in a string, it has a position. And that position is called index value. So you can use the index value to find the character in the string. And the index value -1 is always the last character. And the index value 0, that is always the first character. Keep that in your mind. So now let's continue what we stopped at. Okay, so this is another function or another method of a string. Okay, so you can convert a string to uppercase or to lowercase. So let me just show you. Okay, so let me get the word. What is a word? Based on what we learned last week, word is called help, right? With the plus. So should be this one. Then plus a this word. So now let's see word dot upper. Let's see what do we got. So help a. Let me try word dot lower. It's all lowercase. So you remember upper, you get all uppercase of the string. Lower, you get all lowercase of the string. So this is very straightforward. Okay, so let's move on. And here is check your string. If it starts with this HE, and if it ends with HE, so both are a check. And that will return in Boolean value. And we see Boolean value only has two values, right? True or false. So it can be true or false. So let's just do this. Word start with say HE. Oh, sorry. Start with not no lowercase here. Start with. Let me see. Start with or starts with. Sorry about that. Starts with. Okay. Let me try this. And it tells me true because it is HELP, right? So it starts with HE. But if I say if it's ends with, then it would give me a value false. Ends. Okay. Let me run this. It'll tell me false because HELPA, it does not end with HE. So that's why this can give you a Boolean value. So it's very good if you wanted to do a condition. In the future, we will learn conditional statement. So this one you can use as an Boolean expression, so you can decide. Give you an example. If I'm a teacher, I wanted to do something to my students. Let's say I want to pick up students whose name starts with S. So this will be a very good function for me to use, right? Right. So to remove the starting and the ending white space, we just use a strip. Right now, we do not have an starting and ending space, right? Let me just use this word equal to, put a lot of space here. I will say help my class, okay? I will put a lot of space here. And of course, if I just ask what is the word, you may not be able to see that. But here, okay, because there has a single quote here, so that's why you see there's an leading space and there's an ending space. So if I do this word strip, right, you see what I got. You do not get the leading space, you do not get the ending space, but the space in between are retained, are preserved. Okay, so I want you guys to be aware of that. Strip will only take out the leading space and the ending space. And this is useful. Why it is useful? Usually when you do a text file or when you want to get the user input, people tend to make a mistake. They will type in leading space by mistake. And sometimes they will type one more extra space in the end of the text by mistake. So you use strip that will help you to take those space out. So if I do like an online form and I ask for your first name, sometimes you are not aware that you already type in a leading space in it, right? So that's why we have this function and you can use it. Okay, so next one, replace. So if you have a string and you want to replace a substring with a new substring, this is a syntax. Replace this old substring. This will be the new substring, and this one is optional. You will see, I only wanted to replace 3 of them, or I only wanted to replace 1 of them. If you do not want to give a value for max, then it will replace all. It will replace all. So let me just do this one. Let me give you guys this code, okay? So you guys can type in, and you will see what you get. Okay. So I will say word equal to a new word. So let me do this. Word equal to a new word. Now I wanted to replace word replace. Okay, what do I want to replace? I want to replace new. Okay, with what? With good. Right? So you see what I got. Now it becomes a good word. A good word. It's not a new word because you already replaced new in this string. Okay, you see. new this part with this string good. So that's what you got. All right, does this make sense to you guys? So let me stop sharing and let me check your work. So if you guys are typing code, just go ahead and type in it. Let me see your screen, see if it works for you. All right, so Megan. Very good. Thanks. So Jesse. Very good. And Jack. Very good. Thank you. You guys are really great. So let's move on. Okay, so the next thing we wanted to learn, split. When we do split, okay, we actually will bring in a different data type. And that's the next data type we're going to learn. So let's just try it. The syntax for split is look like this. This is your original string. You want to split. And then you will tell the system what are you going to use to split. Okay. What are you going to use to split? This has a default value. If you do not provide it, it was split using space. It was split using space. This one is how many you want to split. Let's say you wanted to split using space. You have like a 20 space, but you only want to split it 10 times. Then it will only split using the first line space to split. So I will show you what does it mean. So the method split returns a list of all the words in the string. Okay. It will return a list of all the words in the string using string str as a separate. That's this one. Okay. Do not mistake it like this one. I should actually change original. Okay. So make more sense here. So you use this as a separate. If you do not provide it, then that's a white space. It's a white space, okay? One white space. Optionally, you can limit the number of splits to none. So if you wanted to say just 3, let's try this, okay? A new word. You have that. Now we just do word split. Let's see what we got. So you already have that word. So now let's just do word split. I do not provide anything. You see what I got? You see I get 3 words, a new word. So if I use the num, okay, so if we use the num, I limited it to 2, see what happens. Let me see, num. That's the maximum. Let me just put a 2 there. And I mean, maybe try a different delimiter first, okay? Here you see using this white space to do it. As a white space. But I wanted to use a different thing to split it. So let me use a new word. Let me use W to split it. Then you see what I got. You see ANE. Because you have the W here, a new word. You have the W here, the W is taken out. So the stuff before this W will be taken out and form an item. And then you see you have a space here. Okay, you have a space. Then you have, okay, I think I did not do it correctly. Let me just do this again. Let me put a use all lowercase here, new word. So let me do this. Split using W. You will see here is A and E, and then you have a space here. And then you have the ORLD. Why? Because you use W to split it. So every time when it run into W, then it take that item out and form a new item. And that's this item. So you use it to split it. So it's straightforward for us to understand. So let me just check why the num does not work. So let me just do check. I do a quick check. Python string split. Max split, okay. Max split, separate, okay. So I think I did it wrong. So I need to update my slide. This is separate. And so this max split. Right? Right, so this using separate now. Change that. Right, so now let's try this. So let's try split, max split this time. Max split. So it's 2. So it will only create 2 items. Though we have 2 white space, it will generate 3 items, right? So let me do this. Oh, it used 1. So let me just change this to 1. Sorry, it's just which one should I use? Well, let's use just 1. Okay, you see here. So you just use the first white space because the total white space we have is 2. So I put 2, that means all of them. So if I use 1, so you just use the first, using the first white space to split it. So you get 2 items. Use this white space is retained. So that's how it works. And this data type is, this kind of data type is called list. And it's the most versatile data type. And we will learn it in the following classes. After we learn the string, then it's easier for us to understand the list. Okay, so let's move on. So this one is very, very useful, called a Z-fill. What does it mean? So let me get a student to help me read this one. So Jesse, can you help me read this one? Just this paragraph. Jesse, can you help me read this?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Z fill adds zeros to the left of a numeric string when needed. It understands about plus and minus signs.
Okay. So when you read this, you see this, and there are two things you need to pay attention to. The string is a numeric string, just like this one. It's a numeric string, okay? And it will add the zeros in the front of it. So you see here, Z fill 6. That means you want to make this a 6 character string because you only have 3 here. So that's why it added 3 leading zeros. So make it 6 characters. The size is 6 now. Here you have a minus sign here, right? So you want to fill the field to 8. You see it only added 3 zeros. It did not add 4 zeros because it understands you have a minus here, and it put the minus symbol in the very beginning, and then add 3 zeros, and make it the total length of this to 8. This one, it help us understand that you have this numeric string. It's longer than 7, and you see Z fill 7. It will ignore it. It will ignore it. It will just print out the original numeric string. So this is longer than 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The total length of this is 13. And you see Z fill 7. You already have more than 7. So it will not do any change to it. And it just give you the original numeric string. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys. Right? So that's a very useful method, okay? So if you wanted to learn more string methods, and I suggest you guys to bookmark this website. So they have more methods about string here. So you just come to read it. Okay? So there are a lot of documentation about the string. Okay, actually it's more and the other data types as well. So I really want you guys to learn the basic data types, and you just bookmark this website. All right. So now I have several quizzes. So let's do that. Can you guys give me your answer? Which choice you will have? Can you give me your answer? Nobody knows. Okay, the right answer is concatenation. Because we say when you do string operation and you do the concatenation, you can use the plus sign and plus operate. All right, so the next one. What is printed out? You guys, can you guys do chat? So can you guys chat in the chat window? Is it allowed or not? Let me double check. Yeah, I think a chat is allowed. Okay, can you guys give me your answer on this one? Jack. Good. Yeah, the right answer is A. Why it is A? Because we say when we use the substring, this is slice. You start from 0, you stop at 1. The 1 is not included. The right-hand side is exclusive. So that's why you only get the first character. That's G. So that's why A is the right answer. All right, move on. So what is printed by the following statements? Does anyone know it? What is the output of this one? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Megan. Yes. The reason is that in the Python string can have negative index value, and the last character is -1, then the K will be -2, then C is -3. So that's why A is the right answer. Thank you, Megan. Very good. So let me do a separate here so I will know who give me the answer for which question. Okay, now the answer should be for next question. Okay, this one. This one is not easy. So think about that. And then let's find out how this works. Okay, so Jesse, you know, you are the only one. Let me see. Yeah, you are the only one who has not answered my quiz. So what is the answer for this one? Can you tell me? You're right, Jesse. You have a good guess. And why? Okay, the first one you say S1. What is S1? This is right. Index value 1 will give us Y. And then what does this mean? So S dot index N. Okay, so in this string. So we wanted to get the index value for first N. And what you got? That's a 5. So in Python, you can also do a multiply in string. So that means Y times 5, you just repeat Y 5 times. So that's what you got. Y, 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 Y. Okay, does this make sense to you, all of you? You follow up? You get what I said? Jack and Megan. If you are good, can you put it in the chat window? If you have a question, let me know. Very good, Jack. Okay. So let's move on then. So let me go to class 5 then. All right. So can you guys give me the answer for this one? So what is this? What do you got? Can you guys type in the chat window? Megan, that's not the right answer. Think about that. This actually is a substring, and you slice it, and yes, Jesse, you are right. So can you talk about that, Jesse? You get the right answer. So can you tell the class what is your answer and why?
I was just thinking that it says 3, so I picked the first 3 letters.
Yeah. So when we do substring, right, you have slash here on the left-hand side. If you do not provide a value, that means you start from the beginning. So it means it's 0. So this right-hand side, if you do not provide a value, that means to the end. Okay, to the end of the string. But you provide a value, that means from 0 to position 3, but the 3 is not included. And you know the index value start from 0. So that means when it is a 3, it is a fourth character. It's not included. So that means you just get the first 3 character. That's what Jesse said. So that's correct. All right. So can you guys give me the answer for this one? What will you got? What will you get after you do this one? Jack. Yep. Making you right. Can you explain you have the right answer?
So Z-fill makes it so you add zeros to the left of the number to make like 6. So there are 6 numbers. So it's 000102.
That's right. You're good. I'm very sorry. I have a call from the coach. So let me just call back. I'm afraid that they locked the door. So I will put you guys on mute. I put myself on I'm very sorry to keep you guys waiting because of Virginia, they locked the door. They cannot open it, so it's an emergency. So that's why. Sorry about that. I can make up the time for you guys if if it's okay with you guys. All right, so let's move on. So A equal to speed car, right? So I have this string A equal to speed car, A2 equal to P. So see what happens. I want you guys to do this. This will bring in a very critical concept. So let me give you this code, and I really want you guys to try this one, and you will see why. What's the problem? So let me try it here. I will see A equal to speed car, right? Okay. So now I will say A2 equal to P. This is what happens. It gives me an error. And what error? You will say string object does not support item assignment. What does it mean? So I can do more access and show you, okay? You say word equal to help A. And then now you see word dot upper. Okay, you see it's all uppercase. But you see what is the word? It's still camel case. It's still camel case, right? Okay, so that means string is very special. What does it mean very special? So that's what I said on this slide. String is immutable. You cannot change it. String is immutable. You cannot change it. Okay. So you see this, you're trying to assign a new value to that position. And the mean position 2 should be this one. You try to assign it to P. You cannot. But then you will see, hey, Dr. Yang, why I can see word equal to nothing? And it was help it. Why I can do this? You just said that you cannot assign a value to it. No, I do not mean that. If you do this, that means you assign a word to a new string. But the string itself here you cannot change. So that means the string itself is immutable. It's immutable. You cannot make any change to it. We talk about the COVID-19 Delta variation, right? So that means it's mutable. It can be changed. Here string, you cannot change. You cannot change. So you need to have that in your mind. Okay. And then this is an example. And you print out A upper, print out A, just like what I showed you. So these are two different things. When you use A upper, you create a new string. It's all uppercase, but you did not change A itself. You did not change A itself, right? So you see many methods I just showed you. The grid does not change the original string itself. It only creates a new one. It only creates a new one. Okay? So that tells us string is immutable. Actually, all the primitive types, like numbers, it's also immutable. If a number is 4, it is 4. 4 is 4. Okay? You cannot say 4 is 5. You cannot change it. Okay? All right, so let's just do more. This, I think when you read it, it may be very confusing, but when we come to an example, This should be very straightforward. String formatting. So how can you format a string? So you can use %s, %d, %f. What does this mean? So let's just skip this slide. Let's go to the next slide. You see here, string formatting. So I have a variable name equal to John, age equal to 23. So now I wanted to print out a string. You see, this is my string, %s, %d. So what does it mean? You see, %s is %d is old. What does it mean? Now here you see the percent. You are telling the system, you try to use the value of name to replace this part. You're trying to use the value of age to replace this part. This is just the placeholder. This is just a placeholder. You are formatting the string. And the %s means this location is for a string. %d here, you tell the system, this place is for a number. Okay, it's a digit, it's an integer. Okay, so then let's go back to the previous slide. So let me give you this code first. I want you guys to run it first. So you will see what it meant. So let me run it here. I get the call again. So let me just answer the call. Hello? Yeah, I think, is that open now? Is the door open? Okay. Sorry about that. Again, so you see, if I put this code here and run it, let me see why. Supposed to be copied, and then now I come here to run it. Okay, you see, John is 23 years old. I think it's very straightforward to you guys. So this will be a place for a string, and what it is, it will be the value of name. This will be a place for integer number. Sorry about that. No. 他说原来那个停电了 ，the power outage， 所以他们没办法，他们现在找了一个 principal will 他们找的 security will get principal。他说可能需要20 minutes。那你就开了就好了，因为我在上课，不好意思。哎呀 ，I'm in the class. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So John is 20 years old. So you have that, and then now you see. Let me go back and now you see here, %, that means this place is string. %d, that means this integers. %f, that means this floating number. It will be decimal number, okay? And then you have the % period, and then have a number here, then have f. So that means you wanted to keep how many decimal digits after the period. So this will be a floating number there, and you want to keep, let's say, 3 numbers after the dot. So that's how you do it, okay? And this one, I think we do not use it very much, so you don't have to worry about that. The integers in the hex representation. All right, so if you know that, then this makes sense to you. So this one now makes sense to you, this code. So you just use a string to replace it. So how do you get this value? You get from these two variables. So that's why you have the percentile after these quotes, and then you have two variables. You have the values for it. All right. So let's move on. And another kind of formatting. So you see print this. Here we have the curly bracket. And then you have another curly bracket. And you do formatting. And you will say group equal to this one. And the adjective equal to this one. So you see, actually just treat this as a variable here. This is also a variable. Okay, if you use a curly bracket in a string, if you do formatting, this will be a variable. What value the variable will have, it will be defined here, and that value will be defined here. So let me give you this line of code, and hopefully you will understand it. This is another kind of formatting. This is good for you to do print. Okay, let me just test it. Okay, you see when it prints out, it is called this gain is absolutely bad. The group is replaced using gain. Adjective here is replaced using absolutely bad. So you just treat this as two variables, and the value is provided here. So if you see here using format, here use the percentile. So these are the two different formats for you to format a string. Okay, hopefully you guys can get that. So let me just move on. If you wanted to learn more about the string formatting, you can go to this website. Okay, you can go to this website, and then you will get more information. Let me go there. So string formatting. Actually now in Python 3, there are more string formatting. Okay, there are more. So you just come to read this website. They will tell you how to format a string. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Okay, as I mentioned, list is the next data type we're going to learn. Actually, we can see this data structure. It's not a primitive data type. It's in the structure of data, different data in it. So what is a list? So list is the most versatile data type available in Python, which can be written as a list of comma-separated values between square brackets. Items in the list does not need to be of the same type. You see here, I have a list. I have string here, string here. I have a number here, number here. So you see, this is how you create a list. And a list is just a comma separated items. All the items are not necessary of the same data type. Okay. In the future, when you learn more data types, you will know it's not just a string, not just number. And I will have another example for you in the next slide. Okay. So let me give you this list first, so you don't need to type in. Let me give this to you. And then let me run it here. I think that's not a problem. I have it highlighted there, so that's why. Okay, so let me just do this one here. Test. Okay, so let me just do this. I should not have an indentation because in the Python indentation is very sensitive. So let me run this. You see what is A? It is a list. A list is just you list a bunch of stuff there. Right? That's a list. It's a very, very, very convenient to use a list. Let me just go more on list. So it is possible to nest lists. So that means here is the example. You see, I have a list called Q. It has 2 items. Now I have another list called P. It has 3 items in it. One of the 3 items itself is a list. So you can have a number. You can have a string. You can have a list in it. Actually, you can in the future you can have tuples in it. You can have dictionary in it. You can have a lot of stuff, different stuff in the list. They do not care. They just care how many items I have. Okay. So can you guys tell me what's the value for this one? Name gets P. So how many items in P? So what is your answer? Can you take a guess? Let me give you this code first, so you guys can run it. Then let me run it here. Okay. So let me see what is the name of here. It is 3. Why it is 3? Because I only have 3 items here. Though Q itself is in list and it has 2 items, but it doesn't affect the list P itself. P only has 3 items in it. Okay. Then what does P1? What is the value of P1? P1, you see, list is like a string. You can use index value as well. The first one is index value 0. So then you have an index value 1. That means it's Q. The second item, what is Q? Q is this list. So that's why you got this one. Right? That's why you get this one. This Q. Then try to understand what does this mean. Let me give this to you and tell me why. And tell me why. So Megan, so what is the value for this one? And then why you get that value? So what do you get? Megan. Jack, do you know it? So Jesse, do you know it? Jesse? You can tell me you do not know, that's okay. Are you still there, Megan and Jesse? If you are still there, can you chat me back? Okay. All right. You do not know, that's okay. So let me explain to you, okay? So let me just copy this one. And then let me run it here. The value should be 2 and the y is 2. So I need to explain to you. P1, okay, that's P. P1, what you got is Q. And then you get a Q, now you see the index value 0. Q is the first item in Q, that's 2. So that's why this value is 2. Okay, so that's why you see P1, you get a Q, Q0, it is 2. These are all index value, okay? These are all index value. So you don't know, that's not a problem because you see here, that's the code I wanted to teach you guys. So that's fine. I really want you guys to, you know, take a look at that and you understand it and help you understand why we got this value. That's good. Okay, let's move on. I will just do one more slide and I will stop. I don't want to keep you guys too long here. And I apologize to 3 of you because of the emergency in Virginia. Okay, so one more thing, you have a list. And I say list is very similar to string in the sense that you can use the index value to get the items. And the string list also has a length. And this is another thing. How can you add a new item to a list? In Python, you just use append. You will add a 5 to the end of this list. So let me give you the code and I want you guys to try this one. Because we already know Q is 2 and 3. Now I want you to try to append 5 to it. So let's see what it looks like. Okay. So let me do it again. Let me just write in my code here. Q append 5. So now let's see what is the length of Q, because it was 2. It only had 2 items. Now it should have 3. So what is Q? It says 2, 3, and 5. You append a new item to Q. So that's why it's very easy to add an item to a list. You just use the append method to do it. All right, let me stop here. I really want you guys to do an exercise. This exercise is fun, okay? You may feel it's hard because when I give this exercise to my master degree students, and not all of them did very well, but when I come to teach students like elementary school, middle school, high school students, there are several students surprised me. They give me a very good solution to it. So let me read this homework. If you have a variable x, which is a number, let's say 3, 4, 5, right? So it has at least 6 digits. Then it can be like a 5, 4, 6, 2, 1, 9, something like that. So that has at least 6 digits, but no more than 10 digits. Okay, please use the skills we learned today to obtain the sum of all the digits in this number. If you have a number called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so then the sum will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, right? So we wanted to get the sum of it. Remember that typecasting is needed. And typecasting. You can use loop if you know how to use. However, loop is not required. The skills we learned today are sufficient. Okay. Any question on the homework? Any question? No question? No question on the homework? Okay, then I will assign you this homework. You guys do it, and hopefully you guys will solve this problem. Okay. Again, apologize. The emergency stuff there. So you get distracted. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you will have a good evening there. Thank you. And have a nice evening. Bye.